What's up, guys? Mad Scientist 7890 back at you with another edition of In the Lab. Now, in this edition here, I'd like to cover a couple things, actually. Two topics, really. One thing I want to talk about is wrestling smarts. Now, I feel like people get looked down upon or kind of shunned, basically, if you don't know your wrestling knowledge. If you don't know this, you don't know that. You ain't a wrestling fan. You ain't a wrestling fan if you don't know what happened in 1996 on this exact date. I mean, come on, guys. Is that really how you measure, what you know about wrestling? Like, remembering things? To me, here's how I see it. 90% of knowing wrestling is just watching the show. Is just watching it. Okay, for example, just because I watch wrestling, let's see, I know that when Sheamus was the U.S. champion, I knew when he was the U.S. champion, his ring gear was red, white, and blue. Now, he wasn't U.S. champion very long, so how many people would remember that? I would. I watched the show. The other 10% of knowing wrestling is just the who, what, when, and where. Who, what, when, where, and why. That's basically what it is. You can't sit here and say somebody doesn't know something about wrestling just because they don't know it to, like, a T, like, deep down know things. It's just, to me, I just don't believe that. That to me just makes the person who's telling that person that they don't know anything makes them feel insecure about basically not knowing enough, maybe themselves. I think that's just a big no-no when it comes to wrestling with the IWC, the YWC, whatever you guys want to call it, about wrestling. I always see on comments like below, from people, oh, you said this wrong. That was a wrong date, and I've been caught of that before too. Anybody who talks about wrestling, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't write anything down. I come in here and I basically just improv what I'm going to say. That's how I do the videos with the IWR guys. I don't write anything down. You can go back and look at all our videos. I never have a notepad. I never have anything because I know what I'm going to say because I watched the product. I know. That doesn't mean, if I go and write something down and keep it later and look back, oh, I need to know that for future reference, because that'll make me sound smart. That's dumb. I think this is just the stupidest thing ever. Let me know what you guys think about that. And that's just my personal opinion on people just giving other people crap for not knowing, certain stuff. I think that's dumb. And the next thing I want to talk about is the big thing that's going around on, YouTube as well, with the YouTube wrestling community, is the it's fake question. Now, every time I hear this, I really never have a good comeback for this. What do you want me to say? Yeah, it's fake. You want me to sit here and be like, oh, I'm going to argue. It's all real. Everything about it's real. They get hurt. They do this. They do that. I'm not going to sit and say to you guys that it's not, it's fake. It is. It is predetermined. But the people in the ring are athletes. They have to train to be wrestlers. They get hurt. People get injured. People die in the ring. It's happened. So, you can't sit there and say that everything that they do is fake. Now, here's my 1-0 to this. Now, I've been thinking about this for a while. Whenever people say to me, oh, it's fake, right? Wrestling's fake, right? Here's what I say. Wrestling's genius, right? Wrestling's genius. And what are they going to say to that? They're going to say, genius? How's it genius? Well, let's think about this for a second. You take a sport, primarily, add in storylines and gimmicks, and you pretty much just got the best of both worlds. If you look at the NFL, the NBA, would the NFL and the NBA be more interesting if there were storylines and characters? Hell yeah, it would be. The product itself is good. NFL. I'm a huge fan of NFL. And I have numerous teams that I follow. Huge on, for football. And, if there was characters in football like there is in wrestling, I would even be bigger into it. You know, you can't sit here and say that wrestling's fake. Really, it's actually just completely genius. I mean, when somebody is selling product, selling this, selling that, getting over a character, you know, it's hard for me to sit here and say, you know, that it's, yeah, okay, it's fake, but at the same time, it's also genius. I mean, you can sit and say, okay, it's not real. Okay, I'll agree with that. Whatever, you know. But to me, it's absolutely genius. You know, the money they make off this, WrestleMania, how much money that makes, it's just ridiculous. The market for wrestling fans. I mean, look at the internet, look at YouTube. There is just hundreds upon hundreds of people on YouTube on here talking about wrestling. I'm one of them. I'm on here talking about wrestling. I mean, what do you want me to say? You know, that it's, you know, I could be on here talking about knitting. How interesting is knitting? I mean, I'm honestly, that I just wanted to say that. I just want to let you guys, you know, on my opinion on the is it fake question. You know, and when people ask me that, or even people ask me, you know, what are my interests? You know, hey Ryan, what are your interests? What do you like? I like professional wrestling. I don't hide it. I don't sit there and go, well, you know, I do this and I do that. I like to watch professional wrestling. I like doing shows. I like talking about wrestling on the internet. I like people to hear my opinions. That's what I like to do. You know, I never got made fun of it, you know, for it. But if I'm ever on my laptop and, you know, I see somebody and they're like, what are you doing? I'll be like, I'm watching wrestling, or I'm doing a video, or I'm, you know, commenting on a video. You'd be like, you know it's fake, right? Yeah, well, I like it. What do you like strippers? Strippers have fake boobs. Wrestling's fake. Strippers have fake boobs. What else you want me to say to that? I mean, you know, I just wanted to say that. Like I said, I know there's a lot of talk going on about people saying it's fake, all this, all that. It's been like this for years, you know. Another thing I wanted to actually mention, one more thing I want to add on in this. I get the feeling that some people are still stuck in the 80s and the 90s when it comes to wrestling. You know, feeling like only talkers and gimmicks can get over in wrestling. And I said this in my Wrestling Ability versus Mike Skills video. I think we're in an era of professional wrestling where the in-ring quality captivates the fan just as much as being on the mic, you know, or having a character or a gimmick, you know. And I think that, you know, it's going to prove here in the next couple of years. You're going to see, because if you look at WWE's roster, they don't have very many entertainers. You know, how much longer do you think you're going to have John Cena? How much longer do you think you're going to have Randy Orton? How much, you know, Undertaker's, he's pretty much done. Triple H, he's not. You know, these entertainers also as wrestlers, these characters. You're ushering an era for WWE where the quality of the matches is what it's going to, you know, be portrayed. If you look at the FCW roster, a lot of the guys on their roster are just purely ability-based guys, with the exception of a couple guys who are pretty good talkers. But you're looking at here in the next couple of years a very good wrestling product, in-ring product. So, I mean, I just wanted to say that, you know, I think people, you know, think we're in, you know, 1992 or whatever, you know, like CM Punk said to Kevin Nash, or the 80s, where you have your characters, the ones that make the most money and all this, all that. I mean, Bret Hart wasn't a talker. And everyone loved him. He was, you know, you can't sit here and say that all throughout the years, the only people who ever did anything in wrestling were talkers and, you know, gimmicks, just gimmick people. So I just want to throw that out there as well. Let me know what you guys think on all three of these things. Thought I'd throw these out here. Just some interesting stuff I was thinking about for a while. So thanks, guys. And if you'd like, subscribe. If you'd like to say some stuff about this, I know some of these things are very, you know, out there, and you know, people have their own opinions about certain stuff. But you throw out what you want. And thanks, guys, and subscribe.